Hello everybody, I'm Epic Night Eagle and welcome to Astronaught. This is a story game with some horror elements to it. So, sit down, relax, and let's play. Vessel Bidabari 221, designation mechanic. Please input crewmate identification. Hi, my name is Epic Night Eagle. Yeah. The moment my eyes flicked open, I instantly knew something was wrong. Bright red lights flooded the ambiance with my private quarters, leaving everything looking blood-soaked and gruesome. For a second, there was a pulse of fear in my chest before it faded, my logic stifling my instincts telling me I was too soon to panic. Despite how the crimson hue signaled danger all around me, it was better to keep my head on straight. My hand reaches up to scratch an uncomfortable itch on my collar, only to find my arms was caught underneath my toppled desk. Luckily, my suit cushioned most of the impact, leaving a dull ache and nothing more. Grunting with effort, I kicked off the offending furniture and sat up to assess everything, fixing my visor over my eyes. I casted a quick glance around my room, some furniture toppled on their sides, and my usually neat shelf of books and trinkets chaotic and disorganized. Did the ship crash into something while I was asleep? Usually there was a piercing alarm accompanying the emergency lights, but oddly enough, it's gone quiet. Either I slept through it or somehow, or something else happened for it to malfunction. As the person in charge of repairs and maintenance, that didn't bode well for me in the slightest. Just the sheer volume of the siren should have woken me up. Sigh? I called out to the room, expecting a matronly, if a little stoic voice to respond back. Delayed responses from the ship's AI were common. They could still happen. As a spacecraft shipping nothing but Earthian pet supplies across the galaxy, we weren't really working with the most advanced tech there is. Not to mention the budget cuts. I sighed, already feeling a migraine forming in the back of my head. Sigh, can you respond, please? Still nothing. I clicked my tongue. That's not a good start. I inhaled deeply and stood up to exit my room, my boots clanking down the hall, the only accompaniment I had as I made my way to the main console. Along the way, I didn't see any other signs of disturbance, not like the one in my room at least. I scratched at my arm, keeping a lookout for any trouble. Everything seemed to be business as usual, other than the emergency lights, that is. A nagging thought crept into my head. While I wanted to take the current situation seriously, I couldn't help feeling skeptical. Was it another one of their pranks again? It's been a few months of me working for this company. I was expecting the hazing phase to die out any day now. Or at least I hoped it would eventually. There's only so many ways one can keep themselves entertained on a shipping vessel months into a trip, I suppose. I just hated the fact that I was the one of those ways. Regardless, whatever happened is worth investigating, awful co-workers or not. Could only hope I got out of this one without any lasting troubles. Reaching the main console of the ship, I frowned at the absence of my crewmates. It was getting a little ridiculous how quiet the space was other than the ambient humming of occasional blips from the console. At first I didn't want to feel offended at the fact that nobody came to fetch me if I was a possible emergency, but the greeting silence only formed a pit in my stomach. Captain? Anyone? Is there another disappearing bit? Because it wasn't funny the last two times either. The lights are a nice touch though. No stifled chortles. Snarky quips. Bristling from the quiet, I called out again. Come on, guys. I'd rather you insult me than leave me in the dark like this. Nothing? I sighed and shuffled over to the main panel. Pulling the lever to disable the emergency lights, the dark, gory tint of the room fades away into its usual sterile white. Glad to see that's working fine. Standing there, I expected someone to at least reveal themselves already. It's like a game of chicken to see if I'll break down first. I folded my arms, standing awkwardly in the center of the room. Nothing but absolute stifling silence. Guys! With every passing second, a heavy sense of trepidation grew. I swallowed down the inevitability. I had to accept that it wasn't a practical joke after all. Shuffling to the console hurriedly, I checked the rest of the systems. Artificial gravity, navigation, communications. My brows furrowed as I squinted down at all the panels. It's like everything was reset. I perked up as I caught sight of the robot logo for the ship thrumming back and forth on one of the screens. Psi AP. Must be restarting. I waited impatiently for the familiar dinky chime to ring through the speakers. Psi? Hello? The low, droning voice was littered with more static than usual. I was just glad to hear someone talk back. Oh, thank gods. Is everything alright? You don't sound too good. The current state of systems are suboptimal. Several of my primary functions are disabled or inoperable. I recommend repairs immediately. I'll get right that once I figure out what's going on. I fidget with my tool belt as I thought of something simple to ask. What happened to the ship? Where is everyone else? Where is everyone? One crew member accounted for. Just one? That was concerning. There's supposed to be 5 of us. Can you scan for everyone else? Negative. What? Why? As I have mentioned, I am in dire need of repairs. My biometric scanners are inoperable. My tracking system are inoperable. My surveillance... Okay, I get it. What could possibly cause so much damage in my sleep? What happened to the ship? There was a short pause before Sai was able to respond. Significant impact was detected against rear exterior of the ship. My brows raised. We hit something? Affirmative. I grimace, my worst fear coming true. I was really hoping that wasn't the case. How long ago? Approximately 24 minutes ago. And I was passed out on the floor the entire time? This might be more serious than I thought. Okay, that answers that. How bad is it? Unknown. Manual assessment required. I gulped my breath, stalling for a second. Thought of having to leave the safety of the ship and crawl along the outside, tethered by nothing but a flimsy cable to inspect damage, who knows how bad. I leaned forward as a nervous laugh spilled between my teeth, hands gripping the edge of the console to steady myself. I'll get to it later. I said I'll get to it later. I do not recommend postponing the repairs. It is affecting my performance significantly. I am not postponing, I'm just building up to it. I really... Drop it, Sai. Very well. Deep down, I knew it was foolish to disregard Sai's advice. I was the mechanic, for God's sake. Fixing things was the entire point of me being hired on this crew. I didn't need a semi-advanced AI to tell me that. I turned my attention back to the console. My eyes were glued to the big red button, right at the edge. My hand twitched over the urge to press it. Maybe it was too soon to panic with everyone going on. I was stumped on what to do. I held back, clenching my fist into a fist so tight I could hear my gloves squeak. If I pressed that button and made a fool of myself, not a single person on this vessel would let me let it down. Dread forming in my throat, I dragged my boots across the floor, ignoring the tremors in my hands as I prepared to head to the loading bay. Pausing at the door, I threw out one last question to the air. We're not in immediate danger, are we? Sai? Are we in danger? Error. I pinched my brows, gathering whatever courage I had. Astrophobia be damned, I had to do my job. Traversing down the halls, I kept an eye out for any signs of my crew members. While repairing the Bidadari was my main priority at this moment, it didn't hurt to see if I could find any of my absent colleagues. Plus, I wasn't really thrilled with the idea of leaving the ship without someone watching my back. Maybe I was still holding on to the hopes that this was all some sick joke. They just upped the game with their pranks is all, seeing as they haven't gotten a decent reaction of me in a while. They couldn't have possibly abandoned me, right? Just as my thoughts were about to spiral into negative territory, I heard faint footsteps from down the hall. My head whipped to the side just in time for me to catch a glimpse of one of my crewmates, donned in one of the external suits. Were they from the loading bay? The helmet shone against the bright light, obscuring the wearer inside as they darted out of sight. My hope rekindled, I quickly pursued them down the hall. Hey! I turned the corner just to see their back in time. Hey, wait up! They instantly stopped, spinning on their heel and staring back at me with rigid spine. I couldn't see their eyes from behind the dark glass, but I could feel the weight of their gaze. I looked down at the name tag on their suit, but it seemed to have been ripped off. Whoever it was, I didn't care. I'm so glad I finally found someone. I was this close to thinking. I hesitated, biting down on my tongue. I couldn't show this person I was freaking out. Absolutely not. Anyways, where's everyone else? Do you know where they are? They stood completely still, seeming to tremble slightly. Gamma. Their voice came out muffled. What? Hang on, let me just... I reached over and flicked the mic on their helmet. They paused for a moment before speaking once more, their hesitant voice ringing through. Luna. That's better. They seemed to vibrate with excitement. Ah, delight! Amazing to see you! Amazing to... I looked over their frame, trying to pinpoint their height, or look for any indicator that I knew who this was. Whoever it was, they were pretty short. Is that you, Marcus? They bristled as if offended. The doctor? Ew. He is smelly like the meteor slugs and star debris. Okay. Is that you, Kara? They scoffed. Nosy cook? She's smelly too. Oh. Who could this possibly be? Based on their attitude so far, it didn't seem like it was anyone I recognized. I clawed my brain for another hint. Pretty sure that's not you, Ben. They made an indignant noise. I am none of your friends. None of my... Oh, are you, that new recruit we got a few days ago? What a terrible time for introductions. Definitely heard in passing between gossip management sent us yet another new member for our small crew. They're usually considered an extra set of hands around the ship. Something about training on the job. I felt bad. They're probably being paid pennies for a position that wasn't even permanent. Not to mention ending up in a busted ship days after arriving. Normally in 2 months they'll be dropped off at the next depot and we'll be picking up a new stranger in their place. At least if things went well and the ship doesn't explode, I hide the guilt in my eyes behind a smile. In that case, I don't think we've met. I'm usually so busy running around the ship doing other people's errands. Anyways, I'm Epic Night Eagle. I held out my hand. And you are? They freeze again, staring at my hand as if expecting it to grow teeth and start snapping at them. Luna. You will shake my hand? Their hand darted out to grip mine tightly, squeezing so hard I let out an involuntary yelp. Hey, watch the grip. They quickly released my hand, recoiling. Mistake. Sorry, I mean to say Epic Night Eagle. I did not mean to meet you so soon. I was still in the middle of cleaning. Cleaning? I raised a brow. Since when did we start hiring janitors? They gave a terse, awkward laugh, like the tittering of a bird call. Not the kind of cleaning I talk about, but yes. Okay. For the life of me, I couldn't pinpoint what accent they spoke in. I'm sorry. What was your name again? They stilled. I did not. They looked around before pointing at my tool belt excitedly. You will call me Wrench. I blinked behind my visor. Pardon? Wrench? Yes. Like the shiny thing on your hip. Look full. I glanced down at it before regarding them with an incredulous squint. My colleague probably put them up to this. I am not calling you that. They deflated, shoulders sinking in disappointment. Oh, fine. You'll call me... Tom? Adam? Atom. They gave a hefty sigh, arms akimbo. You are tiny but deaf. I will remember. I'm not. When did they start hiring such eccentric members? What kind of a name is Adam anyways? At least it was better than Wrench. I shook my head, resisting the urge to just turn around and leave. You didn't answer me though. Do you know where everyone else is? They shrugged, teetering back and forth on their toes. I have not seen them. They might be hiding. I narrowed my eyes in doubt. By the ways, I have very important questions. It means life and death. What? What is it? What is your favorite color? What? What is your favorite color? Jeez, relax. I want answers now. Fine, it's blue. Soothing. Blue like cosmic whale. Very calm. I will remember. I sputtered, giving them a deadpan look. What are you, 12? We don't have time for this. I am 6 moons old, actually. Stop messing around. Look, I don't know what your deal is, but we have missing crewmates and a malfunctioning ship. How are you not freaking out is beyond me, but could you please get your head on straight and help me figure this out? They stayed silent, barely moving a muscle. My glare falters. Maybe it was a little harsh. At least until they started clapping their hands with soft giggles. Inspire! I will help you to end of galaxy, Luna. It's Epic Night Eagle. Epic Night Eagle, of course, silly me. I huffed, resisting the urge to rub my temples. Rookies. When they're under the impression that I was someone important. Still, the presence of one strange individual as company was better than none at all. Where was I? Oh right, loading bay, exosuits, fixing ship. 3 simple things. I cleared my throat, hiding my anxiety as my arms gestured towards the opposite of the hall where they were headed. I need someone to watch my back while I go outside. They perked up. Outside? You would like to swim? I frowned at their strange analog before nodding. Yeah. Sai. Who's Sai? I blinked. The AI of the ship? Oh, of course, the AI. But there's no need, Luna. I already fixed. You did? I was wondering why they were wearing the suit. Had to be for a reason. Hang on, I thought you were cleaning. I have many talents. Skillful! Oh, that's great. I guess I don't have to then. I stood there awkwardly, rerouting my priorities now that one major task was taken care of. I had to admit I was relieved, although to keep me the furthest I could be from the vastness of space. I guess all that's left to do is find the other. They didn't seem too happy about that. Others? Why? Why? Is that even worth asking? They lifted their head as if to give me a passive-aggressive look behind their dark helmet. I am sure they are around. Wasting. It didn't take a genius to figure out how Adam felt about the rest of the team. My coworkers must have given them a newbie treatment. Hate their guts, huh? They tittered quietly. Their guts. Yes. But you care, so I will follow. Hoping to their foot, they clapped their hands once more. It will be a chance for me to know you better, Luna. Epic Night Eagle. Epic Night Eagle! I sighed, turning around to start headed towards the cabins. Let's go. Let us! Hours. Hours of searching up and down the sideways. We looked through every possible nook and cranny of the ship I could think of, picked clean as a carcass. Am I just going insane, or did they really actually abandon me? I don't understand. Where could they be? Adam fiddled with their gloves, humming an incoherent tune. Gone. I inhaled shakily, digging my hand through my hair. How? They're prime-time jerks, but this is too much. They couldn't have just ditched me. Where would they even go? Do not fret, Luna. You are not alone. You have me. My eyes twitched. That's not as big as a reassurance as you think it is. Ha! Would you like to eat? I think you should eat. Humans feel better after food, yes? What? Do you cook now too, next to cleaning and fixing? I do many things. I couldn't muster up the energy to even sigh. We already have Carol handling our meals. They sputtered as if I just spat in their boot. Her food is inferior. Hardy, crunchy. I paused for a moment, wondering if I should question them further, but decided it wasn't worth the investigation. If you say so. So you're a janitor, mechanic, and cook. What planet did they pick you up from, huh? They flicked their wrist as if giving them a compliment. Rejoice! I am very talented. I can do anything for you, Luna. Anything except find our crewmates, apparently. They shrugged nonchalantly, not a care in the world. Their apathy was something to behold. It wasn't my place to judge, but I couldn't help feeling suspicious. You certainly meet a lot of different types of people working this job. I straightened. Adam did mention they fixed the ship, didn't they? I figured asking Sai again would be worth a shot. Not to mention for those cases, maybe it was about time to look through the logs. Let's head back to the main. I can figure out what happened here. They gave an enthusiastic double thumbs up, eager to follow close with a pep in their step. I was still deciding whether I preferred being alone or not. Count my blessings, I suppose. We entered the main console, my steps leading me to the archive unit. Keen in my idea, I scrolled through the vast few hours, only to feel my heart shriveled, freeze, and drop in the span of a second. Every single log file in existence was corrupted. Even the backups of those backups. How could it? Hey, hypothetical. I actually just remembered another life and death question. Not now, Adam. My fingers working the keys, digging around for something, anything. Adam fidgets and shuffles beside me. But it is very important. I mean it very much this time. I said not now. They made another ignorant noise, mumbling under their breath. Grumpy, I will remember. Other than that, they seem to stay put, watching me closely as I agonize over the console. Where is everything? I yelp as the console sparks, statics riling the screen before it turned off completely. What? No! I can only stare back at my reflection, wisp of smoke curling between the crevices of the keys. Adam leaned over my shoulder to take a peek. Do you have time for a life and death question now? I close my eyes and inhale deeply, counting to 3 before exhaling out. What is it? Adam made a happy noise, glad to have my attention again. What can you eat? I furrowed my brows. What? What do you mean? They chuffed impatiently, tapping their foot. What can you eat? What can you eat without dying horribly painful, choking death? Will you explode like Craterbug if I give you the nut? Or your gut will fail and liquefy if I give you a lactose? Were you asking if I had allergies? They mentioned something about cooking, didn't they? Our dietary information and restrictions are in our files. You didn't think to check? I could hear the pout in their voice. Reading will take time. You will tell me now. I roll my eyes, irritation clear on my face. If it gets you off my back... My diet is unique, vegan, pescatarian, vegetarian. I can eat anything. Convenient! I will remember. I fixed them with a pointed look. Aren't you worried, Adam? Where is everyone else? Shouldn't you be asking about their favorite colors and their tummy problems too? At the question, their demeanor shifted. No, they starve. The dead seriousness in their voice completely threw me off. It was full of stone-cold malice, unlike anything I've ever heard from them. I know they can be real insufferable at times, trust me, I know, but the fact that they're missing is still a huge concern. They folded their arms, raising heat in their tone. They are mean and bossy and kick you around. The captain, she is the worst. I will never forgive her. I blinked, wondering where the hell that even came from. How did you... I shook my head, my frustration rising with every second of interaction with this newbie. It doesn't matter. The entire situation is wrong. Can't you see that? They shrugged. Everything I want to care about is right here. Never mind. I glanced over at the control panel, eyes scanning over the buttons and dials before landing on that very, very enticing big red button. I walked towards it. What are you doing? Calling for help. Captains always said not to press it unless necessary, but circumstances are dire. Or at least I would if the big red button didn't burst into sparks and smoke just as my fingers reached for it. I stared slack-jawed as my hand hovered midair, 1 foot away from what should have been my last ticket to salvation away from this mess. What is happening? Amongst the main deities living in the stars, there's gotta be one out there that absolutely detests my entire whole being. Adam made a hum of acknowledgement, staring at the console. Bad luck. I scoffed, gritting my teeth as I fumbled with my tool belt. Luck has nothing to do with this. Getting on my knees, I worked at the paneling underneath the main console until it popped off with an unceremonious kerchunk. Adam stiffened behind me. I could only freeze in horror, attempting to comprehend what I was looking at. What was supposed to be wires and circuit boards were riddled with pulsing, inky tentacles. No, not tentacles. Worms. They bobbed and weaved and slid through the internal circuitry, burying any possible attempt I had ever tinkered with it. Ever insistent, I decided to proceed anyways, pulling out my screwdriver and poking the closest part with the tip. They wriggled away in response, whatever they were responding to stimuli. That's creepy as hell. A voice murmured softly next to my ear. I do not think you should touch that, Luna. My grip tightened on my screwdriver. I don't think so either. I left it open, refusing to touch it more than I had to, even with my gloves on, but I had to be sure. One by one I pried open every hatch and opened I could think of within this room. Nothing but worms. Adam fidgeted with their hands, silent all the while. For once they seemed to understand my growing desperation. My gut roiled at the disgust as I tossed the final panel away, the metal clattering against the floor. They've taken over the ship. Missing crewmates, malfunctioning AI, unknown funky organisms crawling through the ship. What the hell is anyone even supposed to do in this situation? I was never trained for this. Or I was, but that was orientation months ago. And all they told us was to press the big red freaking button. Pacing back and forth, I fidgeted with the flaps of my tool belt, muttering solutions under my breath. Luna? Epic Night Eagle. Epic Night Eagle. I do not see why you worry. What, do you not see the worms everywheres? I have seen them before. Safe. My steps halted at the casual admission. You've seen them before. They're not dangerous? Safe! Secure! You told me not to touch them. Just because safe does not mean touch. I glanced around the room, uncomfortable tingles running my arms, just looking at them wriggle. Without the haze of panic, I could pick up on the distinct smell of burnt eggs. I held back the urge to gag. Tell me you can look at all of this and not want to puke. They jerked as if I thought insulted their mother. 1, that is rude. 2, I have seen worse. The worms were spilling out to the floor and disappearing through the grates at our feet. But there's so many. That tuttered in disappointment. Are you also scared of 100 million ants? That sounds terrifying. You are giant to ants, Luna. Well, scared of ants? I will remember. What was that? Nothing. Worms. Safe. Admittedly, their easygoing demeanor about the whole thing did calm me down a little bit. A detail they seemed pleased about. I have another life and death question. Not another one of these. Is this a hobby of yours? What animal is your favorite? Don't ignore my question with another question. Animal, now! Oh my god, what is your favorite animal? My favorite animal, tiger. Wonderful, I will remember. Can we take it easy with the icebreakers already? But I understand Luna is so much fun. Stop calling me that. What is wrong with calling you Luna? Nothing's wrong with it, it's just not my name. So I can call you Luna? It's not what I said. Okay. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Do what you want. They giggled cheerfully, hopping on one foot. I will. Can we get back to the worms? If you've seen them before, then how do you deal with them? You do not. I'm sorry, you do not? Why deal with worms? It's safe. Just because safe does not mean let them infest the entire ship, Adam. Why not? Do I really need to explain? Don't answer that. You know what? Stop talking. I'm just going to sigh. A soft crackling emits from the speakers. How many I assist? I slumped in relief at hearing the monotonous voice once more. Meanwhile, Adam seemed to huff in annoyance, folding their arms after being brushed aside. I gave them a short glance of acknowledgement before turning my attention back to the ceiling. Where's the nearest station we can dock at? The nearest station is approximately 555. Relocating. Apologies, I cannot finalize distance. I thought you were fixed. I was. It seems my navigation systems have been tampered with. Tampered? What do you mean tampered with? I have been tampered with. I know you said that, but in what way? A different way. If Sai had a neck, I'd be gently wringing it. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Like changed, altered, affirmative. Who would... I looked over at Adam out of the corner of my eye, who's been staring at me this entire time. A brief second of paranoia fills my chest before I quickly quelled it. They've been with me for the past few hours. It makes sense. Is it the same for everything else? Does it feel like everything has been altered, I mean? Yes and no. Upon rebooting, several of my usual functions were inoperable. However, ever since my waking up, the loss of control has been increased in increments since... Wait, what? You? So you're telling me you're worse off than before? Affirmative. Why? Why didn't you tell me sooner? My initiative directives were also tampered with as of 60 minutes ago. I cannot do what not asked of me. I groaned. Loss of control. So what does that mean? Are we just being hijacked? Why would anyone even want to take over this stupid vessel? We just deliver Earthian pet kibble and plantanium grade chew toys. It is not an attack. The source of from within. Within? The worms! It must have been those gross worms crawling through the systems. What can I do? May I suggest I have suggestion? My head slowly turned to regard the newbie with an apathetic look. Yes, Adam. Take a walk with me. My glare turned furious at their nonsense. In what 70 billion galaxies would that help? You told me these things were safe, and look at what they did. We're stranded. Despite practically blowing up in their face, their helmet tilted nothing but jubilant radiation off their body. Walk will help. Promise. Promise, Luna. It will help. I'm gonna stay with Sai, because there's obviously something wrong with this thing. My glare hardened, my voice tight with anger. No, it won't. I don't know what's wrong with you, but if you want to take a walk, go ahead. I don't need you distracting me. Adam goes quiet, the silence stretching uncomfortably thin within the space. Well? They keep staring, their helmet reflecting a bloating image of my own face glowing back at me. The voice barely leaked out of their speakers of their suit. Do you hate me? My glare wavered, eyes widening at the sudden question. Please tell me you do not. Please, please, please. I don't hate you, Adam, but there's a time and place for messing around. I'm sorry you caught me on the worst day of my career to play these games, but it just isn't the time. I slapped a hand on their shoulder in a desperate show of camaraderie. You understand, Adam? Buddy? Will you take things just a little more seriously for me? They nodded slowly before their bobbing head speeds up, the momentum building up to the rest of their body until they're bouncing on their toes with barely constrained energy. Yes, my Luna. I will help. Great. Now, let's ask Sai? You do not need Sai. You have me. I thought I was imagining it, but there's absolutely no way. Were they actually jealous of an AI? Well, 3 heads are better than 2, unless you don't count Sai having a head, in which case they don't respond, staring at me with strange intensity behind the glass. Unsettled by their gaze, I turned my back to them and faced the console. I cleared my throat nervously, ignoring the hairs raising on the back of my neck. Anyways, I think it's a good start would be to check our current coordinates. Sai, could you pull them up on the screen? I waited expectantly for a static riddled affirmative to respond. Sai? Is it busted again? Warning, warning, warning. A loud cracking moan reverberated through the room. My eyes darted around frantically. Sai! What's going on? Stop talking to that stupid voice. That's Adam. Stop talking to that stupid voice. I am right here. The floor shuddered violently, sending tremors up my legs, so vicious that made my teeth clank together until my jaw ached. A nasty metallic scraping pierced my ears as the rustled floor panel started to part, sliding and grinding against each other, shifting aside to reveal a monstrosity sea of worms crawling underneath my feet. I screamed at the sight as I backed up against the console. The only thing separating my being from the rest of the wriggling mass was this flimsy metal grating underneath my boots. Adam stood on another, calmly watching me with the tilt of their helmet. No worries. I will never hurt you, but your friends. I could hear the little joy in their voices as their fingers twitched. I will get them. From the writhing mass rose several mounds of flesh surrounding me in taunting circles. The overwhelming heavy stench of burnt eggs, rotten meat, and wet copper invaded my nostrils and clogged my throat. I choked on bile seeing the decrepit corpses of my comrades, their bodies twisting into grotesque pulsing pillars of flesh and sinew. Flecks of dissolving teeth and spongy drained eyeballs hung loose against their flaps of skin. Their fingers were twisted, nails missing from their beds and knuckles scraped down to the bones. Melted guts draped like body curtains along their forms, hollow and dripping with residue. "Are you happy, Luna? Are you happy to see your friends?" My muscles tensed. My brain urged me to do something. Vomit! I couldn't will myself to do anything. My eyes screwed shut, my breath coming in rapid and shallow panic as my gut concerned. Gagging, I folded over myself as the contents of my stomach spilled past the gaps in my fingers, my gloves dirtied with acidic chunks. Seeing my distress, Adam flinched quickly, burying my dead friends underneath the grates once more. My eyes fluttered open as I trembled and shook to catch my breath. "Luna?" I swallowed thickly, my breath hitching and getting stuck in my throat. I could still taste the sourness of my mouth, my eyes watering from the memory. "What are you?" They had the decency not to laugh this time, looking at their feet. "If I tell you, you will not like me." They looked up, the smile returning to their voice. "But you will understand." "The hell I will." They tilted lightly. "You will. You are angry at me now. I understand. But your heart is kind and tender and sweet." My face twisted into a sneer. "That just sounds like I'm next on the menu." They gave a contemplative hum before letting out a shy giggle. "I am sure you will be delicious. Toothsome. But no. You are worth more to me than a meal." "I didn't even know who you are." They tittered again in a bird-like laugh. "No matter. I am done cleaning." "What?" The lights flickered, turning to a colored hue. Static sparked from the speaker, Adam's voice loudly surrounding me with unabashed glee. "Your favorite color!" The lights weren't meant to do that. They took over the ship. My head spun. They stepped closer. "And that is only one small thing I can do for you, my Luna Nova. Food, flesh, favorite things. You only need to ask. No sigh, no friends, only me." I stared at them, teeth grit. "Come closer." They straightened in delight, quickly approaching me without hesitation. "What is it, my Luna?" "Hit them with your wrench. Hit them with your wrench." "I'm gonna pick, baby. I'm gonna hit them with my wrench." I braced my feet on the ground and swung, the sound of glass cracking sharply to my ears as the impact traveled down my shoulder. Adam made a sound like a strangled, animalistic cry, dropping to their knees and clutching at their head. Typically, space helmets shouldn't crack under this kind of force. They were supposed to be bulletproof, and you'd crack your skull sooner than crack your helmet, but the company was cheap, and for once that was to my benefit. "Luna?" My eyes widened as I stumbled back. Worms dripping out of their head, slapping wetly against the grate before joining the rest between the crevices. I already knew they couldn't possibly be human, but seeing what was essentially a suit full of worms did it for me. "Luna!" I bang another hit for good measures, a guttural screech scattering more worms across the floor. "Luna!" I gripped the wrench tight, abandoning the crawling form, and sprinted down the hall towards the emergency escape pods. "Luna!" The walls and floors creaked and groaned as I ran, contouring in shapes to trip me. I rightened myself with flailing arms, coughing for breath as I threw open the hatch for the escape pod and climbed inside in the mess of limbs. I buckled in, hands shaking as I flicked buttons and dials for the ignition, heart painfully hammering against my ribs. The countdown flickered on screen, the vessel shuddered to life. 10, 9, 8... Luna! I screamed, jumped in my seat. Adam clawed at the pod, its worm-like innards pulsing and bulging between the cracks of the shattered helm. 6. "Luna, Luna, Luna!" 5. It giggled softly, sighing in mock approval. 4. "You know it's useless." 3. "So smart." 2. "But tiny bit stupid." 1. The button and dials reset simultaneously with harrowing clicks. The pod jittered to a stop. I was left staring at Adam's cracked helmet as it chittered, its laugh sounding more insect-like. "You can have tantrum. I do not mind. It leaned against the glass, helmet thudding as it tilted its head in its love-struck way characters do in cartoons. I will wait. Its fingers tapped playfully against the glass, distorted humming coming from the mass inside its head. I sat there frozen, my body unable to even tremble from shock. I licked my lips, refusing to look away. My voice sounded distant and muffled even though my own ears. What are you? Adam stopped its rhythmic tapping. Ah? Talkative so soon? I can't do anything else. It stared a moment before giggling, shoulders shaking with mirth. Candid. Very true. What I am... It seemed to consider a moment before knocking its helm against the glass again in excitement. Do you remember, Luna, many moons ago on this ship? I was small, weak, and hungry. I racked my brains for an inkling of what it was talking about. A stowaway, was it possible? I was ready to die, but I sneak into the metal box instead and find crunchy bits. Food? You found food. The edibles! Yes, joy and applause. But I find food to also find problem. Your friends. Mean and hasty. Surrounded by like moon lions. If you're gonna be stealing our rations, of course they're gonna be pissed. The worms writhed wildly as if in anger. But I was so small and weak. They want to crush me under their boots and burn me alive. Every single face stormy. All but yours. They paused for a moment, reminiscing. The worms calmed. You look at me. Mercy. Star among the black holes. Their tone softened to that of perseverance. Do you remember? Holding me in your glove. Do you remember? Shooting me into space? I shot you into space? That sounded like a death sentence rather than a rescue. And then it clicked. 6 months ago. You got into the dog food, didn't you? It perked up, nodding eagerly. Maria had found a pest digging through the supplies and eating through half the bags. She called the whole group to catch it while I was busy repairing the hole it crawled through, caught in a jar, shaken and punished just trying to survive. Kara suggested throwing it into the engine furnace. Marcus wanted to pick it apart. The others chimed in other horrible, torturous methods out of boredom when letting it out of the airlock hatch was so easy. I ran off with it just as they started bickering. It was no bigger than my palm. I just thought you were an endangered species. In an honest, truthful way, I did. They remarked matching, didn't they? I let out a chirp of amusement. You are very smart with the ship, but tiny bit stupid with the animals. It sighed, longingly tracing a circle over my face with a finger on the glass. I remember your smile. I cannot forget. I never forget. You saved my life, my Luna Nova. My kind answers, actions, and spades. You are getting what you deserve. The pod shuddered, screws spinning loose and dropping to the ground with muffled clicks in my boots. I watched in horror as worms started squeezing in through the holes. Swarming in, they landed on my lap, my arms, my shoulders, the gaps around my collar. I could feel them crawling around my ear, brushing against my cheek, prodding against my visor. More and more piling on and on. Get them off of me! I unbuckled myself, kicking open the hatch as Adam stepped back in time. Bursting out of the pod, I scrambled to flick away the horrible things off my body, shuddering as the sensation still ghosted over my skin. Adam watched, hardly offended. Haha, I got impatient! It snatched my hand before I could finish ridding himself of worms. The remaining ones curled around me, sticking to my clothes and skin in a way that was almost affectionate. Now we have our home ready. What would you like to do, my Luna Nova? Home? It nodded excitedly. Home. Ship. Right. Adam took over the Bidardari. Even now I could hear distant creaking and dull rumbling all around us, transmitting gentle tremors from under my boots. Like the ship itself had come alive, breathing. My voice came out meek and numb. I was gonna go back to Earth. Adam shook its head. No. I am better than any planet. I can make anything. Here. It cupped its palms together and something started wriggling underneath its gloves. Small colored pebbles rolled into its hands from the cuffs of its sleeves, growing into a pile before it presented them to me. Scrumptious. I recognized the dry pellets instantly. It's the offering. Is it offering me dog food? I gently nudged its hand back down. I can't eat that. It gasped in shock, an intense point in its voice. Why not? You can eat anything, yes? You told me so. It doesn't include dog food. It sighed and tutted the worms wriggling around in annoyance. Fine, fine. I learned from Cook what you cook. I paused. Are you talking about Kara? I dig her brain for recipe. Plentiful. What does that even... Never mind. I don't want to know. Somewhere in my confusion, Adam was hiding the kibble away, suspiciously muffled crunchy noises coming from within its chest. I eyed it warily. What were those even made of? It had a mouth. It would give me a cheeky grin. Me! My body shuddered, squinting down into its gaping head wound. The smell of burnt eggs was even more intense. I don't want to eat worms. It laughed, nonchalant. It would not taste like worms. Did not even look like worms, remember? Uh-oh. I can also make you some tiger. I do not know what tiger is, but Luna can show me. Would you like your own tiger? I briefly imagined an animal made of wriggling black worms. I ignored the nauseous collecting in the back of my throat at the thought. That's fine. I pointed at its helmet. Doesn't that hurt? It made a confusing noise before realizing where I was staring. It's just like fresh air. Fresh air? Adam, really is just worms. You're not mad at me? You said you returned favors, so it shook its head quickly. I will never, ever. You can do the hitting again if that is what you want. What? No, don't be crazy. Then again, what did I expect from something not even human? I startled at Adam removing my gloves. Raising my hand with a firm grip, Adam nuzzled into me, carefully avoiding nicking me with jagged edges. Soothing glass rubbed against my palm as the worms retreated within its helm, avoiding touching me directly. Even then it let one stray worm curled around my thumb, the texture cold and foreign and strange. I could feel light vibrations of my skin as I let out a happy hum. We will sing and dance and fall in love, Luna. I cleared my throat awkwardly, resisting the urge to tug my hand free. I think you're being a little too optimistic for your own good, Adam. It chided happily at the sound of the chosen name on its lips. Optimist. Of course I am. You have no choice but to like me. Its hold tightened around my wrist. And do not ever think of escaping. I will hunt you, I will find you, and we will start all over again. I gulped. What if I asked nicely? No. Stay. But stay! I swallowed thickly, not daring to move a muscle or protest another word. I didn't think I'd be held hostage by an enamored parasite worm extraterrestrial thing. This whole situation was so bizarre I expected to waken up under red lights again if I tried hard enough. This is crazy. It tuttered in satisfaction. What is the saying of that melody? No es la locura, en realidad es el amor. You used to be my angel, Epic Night Eagle. The lights over our heads dimmed, the reflection of Adam's helmet illuminating the look of dread on my face. Now I can be yours. We dance in synchronous rotation. Thank you for playing. That's that. That was Astronaut. Wow. Who knew it was a love story about worms? Well, I think pretty early on in the story we knew that Luna was Adam. Knew that Adam was weird. But that was a different video for me. Thank you for joining. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.